Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion like Rick and Christy here, you can join me most weekdays where I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. Or outside of my live streams, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Great place for you guys to go and kind of share your stories or what's going on with you. And then also recipes, meal ideas, all kinds of other stuff would be great on there as well. Also down in the description below, there is a link to a Pinterest board. That Pinterest board has a lot of the recipes that our family has been enjoying while we've been eating a whole food plant-based diet. So if you are looking for ideas of something to eat or what you could eat on this diet, that Pinterest board is a great place to check out some of those recipes. Today is day 766 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose almost 230 pounds so far. I'm looking forward to reaching my goal and living the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what are you struggling with? What's causing your struggles? If you're succeeding with your diet, what are you doing to succeed? And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that what are some things that you are doing or can do that will make or that does make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead and switch over here. Rick says, happy Tuesday. Hello, Christy. Hello, our tiny acre. Cindy, hello. Hope everybody had a wonderful evening last night. We had a great time. One of our children had a concert at the school, and it was awesome because they only had our school at the concert. A lot of times when we go to these concerts for the elementary school, they combine a couple elementary schools together, or we got to go to the high school and it's an all district kind of thing and it takes hours and we're just there to watch our kids sing 2 songs. I don't need to be sitting there for 12 hours watching everybody else's kids. I'm sure they're all wonderful kids and they did amazing. But so last night, the concert was just the school. The concert was scheduled to start at 6 p.m. It was over by 6:20 and we were in the car leaving by 6:25. That was awesome. If you can't tell, I was excited about how nice it was. But I did have a little bit of a non-scale victory. I've talked about this a lot. Not a lot, I guess, but I have talked about this in the past. The school that my children go to is in the same school district that I grew up in. I went to school. I knew lots of people. And whenever we go to an event at the school for my kids' things, like a choir concert last night, I always run into people I went to high school with. And when I was at 520 pounds, it was always embarrassing to see these people or to have these people see me, like I always, I always preferred that their last memory of me be when I was at 300 pounds as opposed to 500 pounds, or maybe when, like when I was in high school. So going to these events at the schools have been a little bit of a, I've avoided them. I don't know how else to say that. When the kids were a little bit younger, Carrie would go to the festival they had and she would take the kids, and I would generally use our 2 younger kids as an excuse not to have to go to these events. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to see people that I knew from high school, because when I was in high school, I was in a lot better shape. And I'm not, I'll show some photos from high school here actually in a little bit, but I was still overweight, but I wasn't 520 pounds overweight. So it was always a bit embarrassing to go to those events. But last night I had a little bit of a non-scale victory. I have a good friend of mine that one of his kids is in the same grade as my kids, and I hadn't seen him much in the last couple years. Our kids were in some of the same extracurriculars up until 2020, and then everything got shaken up, and I haven't seen him a whole lot since 2020. Last night, as I was trying to find a place to sit in the gymnasium, he had come up to me and he made a comment. And it was something along the lines of you look like somebody I used to know. And it wasn't like a direct compliment. It wasn't like, wow, you look amazing. But that was kind of his way of saying, you don't look like you did 3 years ago, which is awesome. It was a nice little, like I said, non-scale victory for people to notice. Again, it's at an event where I'm always nervous about people seeing me and judging me for my weight. Hey, Janet, I hope everything's going great for you today. And we're just kind of talking a little bit about last night here. So yeah, the concert was great. Real quick, in and out. And then we hung out at home, and I did take some photos of food here that I will go over. I did not take a ton of photos. You guys kept me late last night, so I had to rush home. I didn't even have a chance to eat. Didn't even have a chance to eat before we went to the concert, so I didn't eat till we got back from the concert. Thankfully, it wasn't a long concert, so it was pretty quick here. But let me pull up this. This was the Mega Veggie Chili last night. This is actually the second bowl of Mega Veggie Chili I had. I didn't take a photo of the first bowl of the Mega Veggie Chili. Always really amazing. There's a chipotle seasoning that we put on it that really spices it up, but just very satisfying, and never feel guilty about eating a large quantity of Mega Veggie Chili. It was Mega Veggie Chili Monday, right? I did not take a photo of breakfast this morning. I'm getting awful at taking a photo of the oatmeal. But we had our standard oatmeal this morning with mushrooms and spinach and onion in it. Also amazing, like always. And then for lunch, I took a couple photos here. Carrie had picked up some golden potatoes from the store and threw them in the Instapot. And this potato was like the size of my head. So I had to get a photo with this huge potato. Obviously there's a little bit of camera trickery going on there, but the potato was very large. It was a whole handful. So for lunch today, I had potato. That's the big one. There's actually 2 more potatoes in this bowl that you can't see. They're not very big. And then, easily half a bag of steamed broccoli. And then just mix it up. Those golden potatoes, they're like mashed potatoes with nothing needed. You don't need to add any milk or butter or any of that stuff. You just take them and whip them up, and they mash, and they're not like lumpy. Really awesome, amazing. If you get a chance to get some golden potatoes, or if you haven't tried golden potatoes and you've been eating russet potatoes, I would suggest giving golden potatoes a shot. And then I think that is all the photos I took of the food. I'm kind of, that wasn't the right button here. This is the right button. Oh my. Okay. I'm going to figure it out. There we go. I'm a little bit annoyed because I just told my phone download all these photos and it didn't do it. So let me see if this is still here. Huh. So I'm going to try to pull up these photos in a little bit here. I was going to be talking about kind of some things I've been working on, a little bit of a project the last couple days that I'm trying to get everything together. I'm doing an interview this week that is going to be pre-recorded and then it'll be posted sometime in the future. But there's a few different topics I was going to talk about. But one of the things, that I was going to go over, obviously, is my weight loss success and my weight loss history. And I was going to show a few photos here from when I was a kid, because something that I think is kind of interesting, or, it's, I've always been overweight. I've always been the biggest kid in the room. And so for me to, when I think about growing up, I was always fat. I was always overweight. I was always this big kid. And then I look at photos of myself from when I was younger, and I got a few photos here. I'm going to kind of flip through from when I was younger here. Yeah. So, that's a real, or it's kind of a little bit behind here. Let me see if I can get through, but like, this is a real old photo. I'm the one on the bottom there, I guess, without, let me see if I can, I don't know. I'm the one on the bottom there with the shoulder pads on. But what I think is interesting when I look at these photos, this is from when I was in high school. I used to wrestle quite a bit. So there's a few wrestling photos. This actually was from a newspaper article, it looks like. And then this, I believe I was in junior high. We took a family trip. This camera's right behind me. I believe I was in junior high in this photo. We were on a family trip. And the thing, I look at these photos and I know that in that moment at that time, it wasn't obviously as predominant as an adult, but I knew I was overweight and I knew I was big, and I always thought that I was fat. But now looking back at these photos, I'm like, man, I wish I was that skinny, like if I could go back to be, like this is me standing there. And like I said, at the time, I was the biggest kid in my class. I still, I'm still fat. I'm still overweight, but I would die to be the same weight as I was in that photo. I would die to be that skinny. Like we project. Let me know if the stream's working okay, but we project our current self a little bit onto our memories of us when we were younger. And, I was, again, like I said, I look at these photos and think, man, I'm not near as overweight as I remember being, like this is elementary school in this next photo that's going to come up. I don't feel like I look like a really big fat kid in these photos, but I know I felt like the big fat kid. And maybe there's a little bit of perspective difference too, in that when I was, and this is 89, 88, 89. So I'm 7, 8 years old in this photo. In 89, for somebody to be my size, that was abnormal, or it wasn't very common. But now, I go to my son's program last night and I see kids that are overweight, and I'm like, that kid's just like me. I was overweight like that kid was. And now I look at this photo and I go, wow, those kids are way more overweight than I was. Like the youth coming up now is much the extremes, like the median or the average weight may be closer, but the heaviest kids are getting even heavier than they used to be. And and maybe that's some of it. Like I said, you project that memory, you project your current self or what you see currently onto your previous self. So when I see that kid up on the stage that's really overweight, and I think that's exactly how I looked, then my memory kind of becomes of me looking like that kid, but when it wasn't necessarily reality. But I just thought it was really interesting going through these photos. You know, this next photo coming up here is a photo from when I was in high school. I was much more active and athletic in high school. I can remember kind of up until my freshman year of high school that I was a big kid, and I wrestled well, and I did, I was active, but I didn't really become what I would say athletic until like my sophomore year of high school. And um and you can kind of see that in this photo, and there might be some other high school. This is a very, very, very blurry photo that's going to come up here next of me. This is probably where I look the fattest in any of the photos, but this is a very blurry photo. And then just other photos of me as a kid. So and then one more. And then again, this one here, I do look a little bit bigger. I feel fatter. This looks like an 8th grade or a freshman year photo to me. This is when I was at my highest weight with the least athletics, I would say. After that point, I had got kind of into the gym, but I was still heavy, and what's crazy too is, let me see if I have any more. Yeah, this photo here that's going to come up next. This is a photo of me wrestling. Let me try to rotate it so it doesn't look like, oh, you know what? It's because it's showing photos. Let me see if I can do this. See, I should have done this beforehand. 2, 3. All right. So we'll show this photo this way now. I was, this is senior year of high school, and I was taking forever saving it though. I was so self-conscious about myself. I was so, in a singlet, you don't get to hide anything in a singlet. And so I would be a little self-conscious putting a singlet on every time. But I look at this photo, and right now I'm within 20 pounds of this weight. If I lose another 20 pounds, if I go from, wrong thing here. If I go from 291.6 to 271.6, that's probably what I weigh in this photo. Because when I was in high school, the weight limit for a heavyweight was 275 pounds. And especially my senior year, I was at 270 pounds the entire year. So for me, and then when I graduated, I'm literally lighter now than the day I graduated. And I don't think I've even realized that until now, or until today, or that at 291 pounds, I am 10 pounds heavier than I was when I graduated high school, at least. When I went to college, I started playing football, and I was going to wrestle. I was in the 320, 330 pound range within 3 or 4 months after leaving high school. So from the time wrestling ended at, March of my senior year, fast forward 6 months, and I've gained 60 pounds because I cut out all of my athletic activities, but I kept consuming the food. And really, I got to a point where I couldn't even wrestle in college. I wanted to wrestle in college, but when I show up, I'm 320 pounds. I'm 35 pounds. I had to lose 35 pounds to even consider wrestling. And at the time, I didn't know anything about diet, and my heart wasn't in it enough to do it. But it's pretty awesome for me to be sitting here lighter than I was in high school. And I don't feel it. I feel so much fatter right now than what this person in the photo in front of me looks like. But I know that it's not the case. There's that dysmorphia you get, and it's been pretty crazy. So I just wanted to show some of those photos. I had, like I said, I'm working on getting some things ready for an interview, and I was just checking those out. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. And just that mentality, that idea where you think that you were, and you weren't, I wasn't wrong. I was overweight. I was still one of the top 5 heaviest kids in my class. I was probably one of the top 3. There was one other kid that was my weight or heavier when I graduated. But me and him, you know, we were the top of the class, and I am realizing, how much lighter I was then than I got to when I was 520 pounds. So I missed a bunch of comments here. Janet was given, it looks like, a little bit of an update. If anybody has been following my channel, Janet, the plant-powered peddler Janet here, has been at the True North Clinic out in California, and she's kind of shared a little bit about how it's been going. And so it's awesome. I'm very jealous that she gets to spend time out there and meet the doctors, and learn all this information from them firsthand. She had actually made a comment on a video yesterday about getting to actually watch a lecture with Dr. Goldhamer, and how awesome it was for her to do that. And I feel like I would feel the same way getting to see a lecture from Goldhamer and Dr. Lisle as well. So Janet here says that she ate raw food today. She says, wow, I chewed slowly and took my time and tasted every bite, and it was amazing. And it's amazing how you can go a long time before you eat. That's really awesome. And I was curious, had you done juices the last couple days, or but yeah, it's wild, the body's ability to go without food, but it's a survival mechanism. If people couldn't go 2 months without food, then we wouldn't exist. We would have died off throughout the years if people couldn't go a week without food, a month without food. We wouldn't have been able to survive the long winters. Or if we did survive, we wouldn't have the population in the numbers that we have it in today. So it really is amazing what our bodies are able to do. We are adapted to being able to do this. So that's awesome. You also said that you brushed your teeth for the first time in a week with toothpaste. Do you just brush it dry, I guess, or do they even mess with it? If you're not eating food, I would imagine you would get that keto breath still that they talk about. I never really, I fasted for 42 days, I guess. So I know, but it wasn't quite like in a controlled environment like that. I could brush my teeth if I want and not feel guilty about it. But okay, you said here you could brush it with water, but not toothpaste until after you ate food. And then next you'll get to take a shower. Yes, I knew that they don't have, I don't know if it's that you don't shower, but the kind of a recommendation that I've seen is with fasting that you need to be careful with showering, because the change in the temperature of the air and that steam can cause lightheadedness, and they don't want anybody to fall while they're in the shower. So you get to take a shower, which is great. And let's see, Nathelina Williams, can you please tell me how much water you drink daily? I don't even know. I drink a few cups of water daily. We have this purifier in our fridge. When I get up, I usually have a glass in the morning, and then when I get home from work, I have a glass or two. I would say I under drink water, like actual water, but the water content in the food I get is crazy. Like today I had 2 or 3 oranges already today. Huge amount of water content. I know it's different than straight water, but it's still water. I eat a lot of bananas, very high in water. But like straight water, I probably drink half as much as you're supposed to. Let's say I drink 30 to 40 ounces of water a day. I just don't get thirsty. I feel like I'm never, I drink a satisfying amount of water, and I do, I guess I do usually have a bottle or two of water on the way home from work. Like I grab one from work and they're like 16-ounce bottles. So maybe I get about 60 ounces a day, but I don't measure it. I know I have high water content food and I don't measure my actual water intake. It's something about this diet and something that with this presentation I was working on, I don't know exactly, but the diet culture out there has created this measurement that everything's got to be measured, that everything needs to be weighed and measured, and that's not how we evolved. Our ancestors weren't sitting there with a scale, weighing their food to make sure that they got the right amount of food. They ate a satisfying amount of food. They drank a satisfying amount of water. They just had a different content. The content of the food that they ate was different than the content of the food that we have around us today. So for me, I don't gauge, I don't weigh anything, but I also don't restrict myself. I showed the Mega Veggie chili. I had at least 2 bowls of Mega Veggie chili last night. I think it was just 2, but I also had other food. I had bananas and apples and oranges. I eat an abundance of food, and that's something that the diet culture doesn't want people to understand, is that you can eat an abundance of food and still lose weight. But if that food is high dopamine, high calorie food, it gets very hard to lose weight because you keep wanting more and more and more. And if you eat a satisfying amount of a high calorie food, you're not going to lose weight. If you eat a satisfying amount of a low calorie food, you can lose weight because you can stay in a caloric deficit. Let's see. Barb here says it does take a long time to readjust your self-image after losing weight. Self-perception as a fat person lingers. Yes, I think that it works a little bit in both ways. Like while you're going up, while you're gaining weight, you are holding on to that idea of your lighter self or your thinner version of you. And then as you lose weight, you kind of are still holding on to that fatter version of you, or the fatter mentality. So there is a lag, like everybody wants everything so instantaneous, but there's adjustment periods that have to happen. Carrie says I should bring back those glasses from when I was a kid. I don't think I'm bringing back the glasses. But yes. Let's see. Cindy here says those on a weight loss journey always seem to wish they weigh the weight they did the first time they thought they were fat. Yes, I get that. Like I wish I was, and it's maybe a little different for people that are a healthy weight or skinny until they go to college or till they get out of high school or they move away from their home. And then they kind of become overweight or get to a point where they consider themselves fat. For me, I've always been fat. Like I've never not been the fattest kid in my class. And so, but really, like you said, I have goal weights. I've always had goal weights. A lot of times my goal weight was 300. Like that was that's the weight. Like you said, I guess the first time I thought I was fat, I didn't feel like I was officially fat until I got over 300 pounds. Even though I was very fat at 250 and 270 and 290, I wasn't officially fat till I hit 300 pounds. So that was my goal, was to get under 300 pounds. Every single diet that I have done since I graduated high school, until this one, my initial thought was I need to get under 300 pounds. I can get under 300 pounds. I can get to the same weight I was in high school. Then that's healthy enough. This time I said, you know what? That's not right. I don't have to just get under 300 pounds and then I'll be healthy, because I know I won't be truly healthy. I feel healthy now. I'm under 300 pounds. I proclaim that I'm healthy right now, but I still have a lot of excess body fat on me. You know, like I could easily lose 70 pounds of body fat and still have more weight to lose. You know, like that is really uh the difficult part for me, was pushing through that 300-pound goal to finally say to myself, 300 isn't good enough. Well, I guess to get under 300 pounds isn't good enough. Losing 300 is what I ended up having to tell myself. But yeah, just I had to be like, just getting under 300 pounds isn't good enough, because if just getting under 300 pounds was good enough, then I wouldn't have gotten to 520 pounds, because I've gotten to 300 pounds at least 3 times as an adult, and I lost it. I screwed it up. Whatever. The gimmicks failed is what I'm gonna say. And then let's see here. So yeah, let's see. Oh, Janet says you did do juice for 2 days, but before the chewing, and I'm amazed at how I went. Okay, yes. Yes, well, anybody can go a very long time without eating. Me going 42 days was awesome. I mean, it was amazing for me, and it absolutely changed my life. I couldn't do it today. I don't think I could do a 42 fat day. I know I couldn't be sedentary enough to do a 42-day fast right now. Like, I would have to go to a clinic and have my life removed from me in order to do another 42-day fast at this point, because I don't believe you can be as active as you need to be, especially as a husband and father to 4 kids, while fasting for that period of time. You know, I appreciate my wife and my family for supporting me through that. I've said it many times that to get to 520 pounds, I was very sedentary. You don't get to 520 pounds running a mile every day or running even 100 yards every day. You get to 520 pounds by waking up, eating breakfast, getting in a car, sitting at a desk all day, getting back in the car, and then laying on the couch all night. That's how you get to 520 pounds. And that's what I did while I fasted for 42 days. I mean, sort of, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I didn't change my life. Or I didn't have to change my life. If I was right now at 291 pounds, if I wanted to fast for 42 days, I would have to, you know, stop doing a lot of the activities that I'm doing now. You know, the step counter, when I look at my step count today, I didn't walk a lot of steps today. I got like 5,000 steps so far today. If I went back in my tracker app and looked at how many steps I was doing prior to my channel, 5,000 would have been a max. That would have been, I was at like 2,000 to 3,000 steps. And I know I talked about it in my earlier videos, but so I would have to be half as active as I am now, and I couldn't do it. And so that's a big part of it, was that I was sedentary. The other is that I was 520 pounds, you know, like for somebody, if you starve to death at 520 pounds, your body's pretty crappy at pulling the calories from the fat that it's been so good at storing, you know. And that was a part of the confidence that I was able to give myself going into it, you know, other than doing it kind of, you know, I had worked up to doing a super long fast. But I got sick of thinking that my body was broken, you know, like my body's so good at storing fat. Why would it be bad at burning it? Like, it doesn't make sense. If it's got the pathways to store it, it should have the pathways to burn it. And I just had to get the food out of the way and the excess calories out of the way. Cindy's asked, when you did your 42-day water fast, did you work with the doctor? I did not work with the doctor. I would highly recommend working with a doctor. But 520 pounds, a lot of embarrassment, didn't know that a doctor would really support what I was doing. I had done a 30-day water fast a year and a half prior, with some success. At the time, I lost weight while fasting, but then I gained it all back afterwards. But I did not do it under medical supervision. I would highly recommend that you do that. And I also don't know that you have to fast to succeed. What you do need to do to succeed is change the food that you eat every day. And eating a whole food plant-based diet is really what caused my success. Because like I said, in the past, I fasted for 30 days, lost 60 pounds back in 2018 or 2019. And then I gained it back and another 50 pounds on top of it. And so the fast did not fix the fatness. The diet is what's fixing the fatness. Let's see here. I guess I'm trying to see. I got two different places where I'm looking at questions here. Plant powered peddler Janet says you're way under do you ever remember? You're at 105.6 today. That's amazing. Let's see. Cindy asks, do you focus on weight loss, health, or both? Started the channel about weight loss. 100% all I cared about was the weight loss. I was going to fast. I was going to lose weight as fast as possible. Throughout the process of fasting, I knew I needed to do some education to find out how to eat after I fasted. And now there's a lot more focus on my health. I don't care that I'm 291.6 pounds because I feel amazing. And I feel like I don't have to worry about all of those things I used to worry about at 519.8. There was so much health concern that was going on in the back of my head, swelling in my legs, sleep apnea, heart attacks, muscle pains, joint pains, all these health problems. But the weight was the initial focus, because if I got off some of that weight, these health problems start to go away. And, now I don't have swelling in my legs. I don't wear a CPAP. I'm still 291 pounds, but I don't wear a CPAP machine. It's just wild that I feel like at 291 pounds, I am healthier than a lot of people that are between me and my goal weight. I would be willing to stand next to somebody who's 240 pounds with a junk food diet and put my health up against theirs at 50 pounds overweight. I would go against somebody 100 pounds lighter than me if they're living off of a junk food diet compared to my health now on this diet. So it was initially weight focused. Now it's a lot about the health, or the health is what's keeping me going. I still want to lose the weight. I'm still going to lose the weight. It's not going to not happen, but the health I feel from this is amazing. And that's really I hoped I would feel healthier. I hoped, and I said, I've lost weight in the past, and I've gotten to close. I've gotten to 300. One other time, I'm 6 pounds away, or 6.6 pounds away from the lowest I can absolutely remember. Like 285 is kind of a big milestone for me. But anyways, me at 285 pounds, I think that was the phentermine diet. I would absolutely put my health. I never felt half as good, just throwing random numbers. I never felt 5% as good doing that prescription drug diet as I do on this health food diet, this whole food plant-based diet. So, let's see here. Pretty Girl's mom. That was Nathina. Is it Nathlina Williams? Miss Williams. All right. What is your breakfast, lunch, dinner look like? So One of the things that I try to do on this channel is show you photos of my meals all the time. And so actually, I don't know if you caught the beginning of this, but usually within the first 5 or 10 minutes of my live streams, I go over photos of the food that I'm eating throughout the day, just to give you guys an example and see the variety of foods. Because that's a hard thing for me to say, what does my breakfast, lunch, and dinner look like? I can tell you breakfast and I can pretty much tell you lunch. Dinner is a variable. So for breakfast, it's almost always a combination of oat groats and steel cut oats with mushrooms, onions, and spinach, kind of a savory oatmeal. When I first started this, the oatmeal that I had was a sweet oatmeal. I would eat bananas and apples, and we put a little bit of nut butter in it. We adjusted that a while back, and now I eat the savory oatmeal that I really enjoy. So that's 95% of the time, that's my breakfast. The other 5% of the time, I'm either not eating or I just have fruit for breakfast. For lunch, when I started the diet, I didn't eat any lunch for the first 11 months. I kind of had, I would snack. I would eat like a can of corn, maybe some pineapple, but I didn't have a great access to food during the day. I would go home and eat a lot of dinner. Now, I showed a photo of it earlier. My lunch is pretty much potatoes and broccoli. And as much as you would think that you would get bored of potatoes and broccoli, it's always satisfying. It always tastes good. And it always smells good. Like the number of compliments or the number of comments we get in our building when we are cooking just potatoes and broccoli is amazing. Like the number of people that walk into the break room are like, wow, it smells amazing in here. And it's like, oh yeah, it's potatoes and broccoli, you know? And so it seems like it would be boring. It's always delicious. So breakfast is oatmeal. Lunch is usually potatoes and broccoli. If not potatoes and broccoli, it's leftover dinner. Now dinner is where we get into the fun. The dinner is where the variety comes in. You know, it's where I don't get tired of my diet because of the dinner, I would say. You know, in the past, I had done diets where my breakfast was identical, my lunch was identical, and my dinner was identical. And I had lots of success with that routine. But once something changed, once something broke that routine, it was hard to get back into it. With this, we have something different every night. Last night we had mega veggie chili. We eat these lentil loaves. We have, oh gosh, I mean, just, I'll try to run through a bunch of photos from here. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but I'll, just to name some things. Polenta and white beans, tomatoes, Spanish rice and beans, plant-based Gabriel's 3-2-1 burgers. Let me see. What else do we got? Chickpea tikka masala is something we used to have. I don't eat so much of it anymore, but I was a big fan of chickpea tikka masala. I love to make just root vegetables. I throw potatoes, carrots, and sweet potato in the Instapot, and then I take red onions and mushrooms and onions. I already said onions, zucchini and red peppers, and I either put them in a saute pan and I cook them up, or I put them in the oven. I love making that. So, but our dinners, there's so much variety with our dinners, and so there's lots of food that we eat. There's a barley soup that we've been having recently that's really good. Yeah, just lots of different foods. So there's lots of variety. If you want to get an idea of the foods that we eat, there's a link down below to a Pinterest board that has a lot of the recipes and examples of the food that we eat. So hopefully that gets you some idea. Carrie says we're having a new recipe tonight. And then she also says mega veggie chili, a big salad is also something that we have a lot of times for dinner that I never would have done before. But I'll eat a mixing bowl kind of filled with spinach and carrots and onions and all kinds of wonderful things. All right, let's see. I'm trying to see. There's some conversations going on here. Sarasota says, you sound just like what I'm going through. I'm not sure if you made any other comment there. And I'm not sure how long ago you said that. So, let's see. All right, I'm just going to read here. So, yeah, and Carrie says, check out the Pinterest board for recipes. I can actually, if you guys want to, I can, here you go. There's a link there in the chat to the Pinterest board. If anybody wants to check out the Pinterest board to see a lot of the recipes that we eat, that's a great place to check those out at there. Let me see. I went over all my notes and I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover here today. Thank you guys for all the questions and comments today. Janet, really thank you for sharing how your experience was at the True North so far. And I look forward to hearing any more updates you have. How much longer are you going to be staying there? I guess would be the other question I had. I know you said your husband was doing a fast as well there. And no, you're doing great, Janet. No worries at all. I love it. I love seeing all the chatting. So you absolutely keep doing what you're doing. And Williams here says, you don't use salt, sugar, or oil. Can I use nutritional yeast for salt? Yes, we do use nutritional yeast in the one recipe we have. It's the white bean and polenta and white bean and mushrooms. That is really the first recipe that we started using nutritional yeast. I don't know. I kind of avoided it, I guess, for a while. And then we put it in that, and I was like, holy cow, this tastes amazing. Let's use nutritional yeast in everything. I'm sure there's a little bit of nutritional yeast in other recipes that we had, but that was definitely the one that was the most predominant. And we still use seasonings. We just don't use seasoning salts. We still have garlic powders, and we still have this chipotle chili seasoning that we use. We go to the Costco or Walmart, I think it is. You get the Kirkland's no salt seasoning. So it's not like our food is completely unseasoned. It just doesn't have salt on it. And to the best that we can, it's hard to get every can of beans that doesn't have salt, but we don't add it to recipes. Don't put it on top of the food, and if putting salt on it is the difference between you eating a healthy food and not, then don't worry so much about it. But if you can get rid of salt, I do recommend it. Of the three, oil for calories is obviously a no-brainer. But for me, I would recommend getting rid of the salt before the sugar. And I definitely recommend getting rid of both. But I think salt gets too much of a pass. I think people think, oh, it's just salt. There's no calories. There's no nutritional value to it. But you eat 30% more of the junk than you would have eaten if you do salt it. So it does have a consequence. But if you can avoid it, it's great. And then Janet says you are refeeding for 3 days and are considering going home early on Saturday. Okay, great. So that's great that you were able to do there. You couldn't go the whole 10 days. You couldn't go the whole 10 days fast and 5 days refeed. We both just ran out of all energy. And I'm sure they run into that a lot at the facility. I mean, you're already a pretty low weight and you were there for health reasons. And so it's great that, I hope that you're finding some relief, or that you end up finding some relief from the health problems that you were having out of all of this. And that would be something I'd love to hear about. But yeah, I can understand, it's tough to fast. Stephen, you said made it one more day than you did, as he had a bit more weight to fiddle with. He weighs 135 and he was allowed to get to 132, but he's 5'11", and you had never seen him that light. So yeah, that's amazing, you guys, that you were able to do that and just be there and in the experience, even if you weren't able to fast for a whole day, at least you got the experience and you got to see that stuff. And I'm sure you went to some lectures. I know you mentioned the Goldhamer thing, so that's great. And then Williams here says, thank you. You're doing great. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you coming in. And if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. I love answering questions, and I may not have all the right answers, but I definitely will pretend like I do. So, and then you said you went the full 5 days and he did a 6 days. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and it's I can't know what it's like for somebody who is a third of my weight, or you were right now. I'm like 5 times heavier than you weigh. When I started this challenge, like at one point I was definitely, because I was more than 520 pounds. It's just that when I started this challenge, that's what I was weighing. That I was 5 of you stacked on top of each other. It's wild to me, as wild as it is to you that somebody could weigh that much. It's wild to me that you can be your weight. So anyways, I gotta go. I got some more work I gotta get done tonight. So I can go home, and then I gotta get back in here early, I think, because there's no way I'm gonna get this all done before tomorrow. So Queen Shailene, hi. I'm actually just getting out of here. So yes, I got weigh-in tomorrow. Janet had to remind me I got my weigh-in tomorrow. Yes, I'm excited, or I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try to do the same format as I did last week. When I get into the office in the morning, I'm going to try to record a weigh-in video in the morning and then post that video. Tomorrow's going to be goofy. I got to figure out so I'm going to post a live video. That interview I'm doing might run into my normal start time. So that might have a factor on it. I think I'll be okay. I've given myself the time, but I can't guarantee it. I'm going to try to do a live stream at the regular time tomorrow. But yes, weigh-in Wednesday tomorrow. I'm trying to remember what my lowest weight was so far. I think it was 89.6. And so I'd have to lose a couple pounds. But I did lose weight. Did I only lose 0.2 of a pound last week? I think I did. I just barely lost any weight last week. So, but yeah, I'm going to weigh in the morning, and post that video separate. And it'll just be kind of that quick weigh-in, and then I will go over the results of the weigh-in tomorrow afternoon on the live stream, and we'll go from there. So I'm sure I already said it, but I appreciate all of you guys, and thank you for participating in the chat and the comments of the, when people watch the replays. I really appreciate that as well too. And I'm looking forward to what I got left to do. I really feel like things are going really well right now. I've been in a good groove for like 60 some days, and I really feel like it's really building, like it's that when I started this, it was about getting that chain of good days together, and I've got this great chain going, and I just don't ever want to screw it up. So I'm going to get out of here. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. And if you have not, hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up on the video. Maybe leave a little comment down below. What's your favorite whole food plant-based recipe? What do you like to eat? If you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up this weekend. You got nothing coming up. You know, I know Christmas is coming up and everybody's going to wait till the 1st. Imagine if you started your diet today. 2 weeks from now is the 20th. So 20 days from now or 19 days from now is Christmas. Imagine how much weight you would be able to lose between now and Christmas. Instead, you're choosing to push it off. How much weight are you going to gain between now and Christmas? And how long is it going to take you to finally decide to start? Just get started now. Just make the decision one time to get started and stick to it. I will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a great day.